What is up, Twitter world? How's everybody doing? Bren here. Usually, as you guys know, oh my bad, yeah. Usually there is I'm on with Max, but I think he might pop in later. Right now it is just me, but hope everybody is doing well. What is up, Miss D? What is up, Tom? What is up, Just Trading? What is up, Ramon? Today we're gonna go over a lot of stuff. Bitcoin obviously pulling back heavy. A lot of people calling for a huge double top. We'll be talking about that. Is it a double top or just a coil up before we move higher? Um, James Wynn, obviously, crazy story around that with him being down now over $19 million from originally being up 80 million. Obviously, no hate on that guy. I think you have to be in a crazy position to even be able to place $1 billion leverage trade. So I think it's just a another example of kind of greed or stuff taken over, even at the very high level. So either way, hope everyone's doing well. Please leave your comments, questions, whatever. I'm going to be checking throughout the chat, or I'm sorry, throughout the stream. So Just Trading says, "Good day, sir." To me, it feels like another after they announced that they want to make Bitcoin an everyday currency. It feels like it's not that valuable anymore. Just how I felt after the announcement. For sure. I mean, it's valid. I would say the writing's on the wall. I think right now we're kind of in a sweet spot in crypto where it's obvious countries are getting ready to buy. You have the vice president of the United States, both at the Bitcoin conference and just like on news, kind of talking about Bitcoin and how it's the new gold, and I think that shows that the administration is very serious about creating crypto regulatory stuff and making America like the capital of crypto, and just supporting crypto in general. So while that's very valid, I think right now we're in the sweet spot where prices are still kind of chopping around, but it's obvious that crypto is going to take over. It's not just about prices going up. It's about this technology is going to envelop and take over gaming, collectibles, finance, all these different things. That it's going to make crypto like this massive option that everyone's been talking about. I think is really around the corner now. So while that's valid, I do think Bitcoin and ETH, Sol, digital asset industry in general is just getting started. So are we going to Goblin Town? We'll go over that in a second, brother. Curry, Soul, what's up, Curry? What's up, Blackie? What's up, Divine? What's up, Ramon? Um, Love this cool new feature that we found the last few weeks, so I can put your guys' comments up on stage. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go and get started. Let me go ahead and pull up the Bitcoin chart real quick. We'll be over what the fuck is going on. All right, so obviously, big correction from January to March of this last year. Now, we were telling you throughout this stream that everybody was panicking. Most people, kind of the consensus around this time after we dropped around the tariff stuff was that we were going to go down to 50K. That it was the time to de-risk. Myself, Max, others on the stream were telling you not only was it the time to not panic and not fear and ignore the media bullshit, but it was time to back up the truck and actually start, DCAing and buying. And anybody who took that advice and was buying, down here anywhere between March, April, even the beginning of May is doing very, very well right now. Right. So now does that continue or do we see a double top here? That's what a lot of people are fearing. That, you're going to see something like this where we're going to double top and form this big thing, and then it's just going to go all the way back down to 73K. While anything's possible, I think what's most likely here is that we're struggling at this all-time high at a what is this, a 5 or 6 month high. Whenever any asset, it doesn't matter if it's crypto, stocks, whatever, anytime it hits a major like multi-month high, you're usually going to see some type of struggle. Very rarely do you just see price just break right through and you just keep going up for straight up only. Usually there's some type of consolidation, resistance, even a pullback at all-time highs. This is a very common occurrence, looking at charts. So what I think is most likely here, guys, and what I've been saying for a few weeks, even before this most recent dip, is that this piece here from May 22nd to now is actually what I like to call a corrective channel, which indicates that once this correction is over, that we will head back to the upside. And I think, usually these corrective channels see 2 to 4 lows before heading higher. As we see here, we've gotten one low, arguably two lows. I think this is probably the second, arguably third low of this corrective channel. I can show you another. Here's an example of one here. We got one low, two lows, or an equal low headed higher. Another example here, kind of choppy behavior, corrective channel, moved higher. I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. It's always possible that we continue to bounce here for another week, even 2 weeks. But I think right now, the time to right during these corrections, it's the time to add and see these corrections as an opportunity. To me, I think it's very unlikely that we double top out here and just go all the way back down to 76K. I think both Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol are telling us that this is another just lower time frame, kind of temporary correction before we head back higher. So that's my base case here. I think that's most likely what's happening. I think ETH very likely bottoms out between here and 24, maybe comes back down a little bit below there, and then heads higher. I made a tweet here earlier, that it started moving down a little bit more since the stream started. But Bitcoin and Sol are moving down a bit impulsively, like means pretty strong. But ETH is unbothered, barely flinching. When this mini corrective period's over, I think it's going to smash 5K so fast it'll make your head spin. And I truly believe that because I think all this regulatory clarity, all this stuff that's coming for ETH, I think it's going to be the biggest beneficiary. And once it breaks all time highs, I think if we get this kind of digital asset super cycle where we continue on for multiple years, I think ETH is going to do incredibly well. So either way, short term, super bullish on all three majors. I think we just need to wait this out, let this thing play out. Now, if we were to power through down here and go down straight down to 99 with no like bounce, that'd be a different story. We'd have to reevaluate. But even at that point, I would think it's a temporary correction. But I think a very strong possibility here that we start to slow down either today or into the weekend, maybe chop a little bit, and then start that next leg higher. And I think we see Bitcoin probably at 150K before the end of the year. That's kind of my base case. Who knows what could happen? Anything's possible. Could go way higher than that even. But yeah, ETH I think goes way higher. Sol, which will eventually ignite the meme coins, alts, all that good stuff to really pick up as well. I want to check the chat really quickly. What's up, Miss D? My question is not showing up. Go ahead and ask it again, bro. Let's see. Yo, Bren, what's up? Let's get locked in. What's up, Ziggy? We're going so much higher from here. Yes, exactly. What is up, Teacher 96? I love the good vibes. Good Vibes Club is doing crazy. I want to talk about that here soon. We haven't touched on NFTs here in a few weeks, but definitely want to talk about that because I think there is an NFT bull run on the horizon. We're seeing not only a lot of signs in the existing 2021 projects, but we're seeing NFTs that came out a few months ago, like Good Vibes Club, see that initial dip. It saw a really big run, saw an initial dip back down to like 50%, and now it's making new all time highs. That's a very, very strong sign that the health of the overall NFT market is heating up and is good. When you see the newer mints start to do well, so love to see that. Thanks for being on, Katie, Teacher 96. It's weird. It shows your guys' is like not your name. It shows like your at or other stuff. So it might be a little different. But now that James is out, I expect bullish candles soon. Yeah, ETH gone. Gonna send so hard for sure. My question kept not showing up on your chart, Bren. Please ask again. Can you cover RWAs like ADA, Litecoin, and others? Um, yeah, I can cover RWAs. You say like ADA, Litecoin, and others. I don't know. Um, I don't know if you're. I can cover ADA, LTC, Litecoin, and either way. Yeah. So what I think generally what's going to happen, guys, is over the next, um, I don't know, 6 months, year, couple years, and Max, who's usually my co-host, if you guys don't know him, his at is in the title, Max Crypto 6. He has like 40 years of traditional finance experience at like a high level. This guy's been on Forbes, Fox News, all these different publications like hundreds of times over the years, being on these big panels talking about these crises and like other things in finance. And he kind of really solidified my mindset on this, that the institutional investors that are coming into crypto and just investors in general are going to price crypto like they do, or like value crypto the same way they do stocks and in equities, right? They're going to look at it as high caps, mid caps, and low caps. And what these people are going to do and is going to they're going to invest heavily in like the top 50. So you're going to see stuff like ADA, stuff like that you don't really see even like much activity on the chain do very well. So I think ADA, because again, like this top 50 concept I'm talking about, as well as Cardano has just one of the top five cults of all time. And that's why I did really well, is like you had people who don't know shit about crypto back in 2021 who were just kind of casuals, and that was like their main coin, right? It was like ADA, Doge, and XRP. Like that was kind of the normie coins, right? And that's because of how big of a cult it was. So you have the cult like dynamics. You have, like I said, the top. It's in the top 50. It stood the test of time, and then it has this beautiful corrective channel coil up here, which just like here, just like the ones I showed you earlier. I think once this corrective period's over, is going to lead to a big explosive move up for ADA. So I wouldn't be surprised that in the coming months and years that you see ADA back at all time highs and possibly higher, right? I think the digital asset industry is just going to grow so much that these bigger coins are just most of them are just going to climb higher. The chart supports that kind of the cult like thing I was talking about. So I think ADA will do well. Litecoin, I don't even have to look at it. I think it'll do well. Now, I think Litecoin's probably going to fall further out of the top 50, right? As time goes on, I think stuff that's really has more utility and mind share and stuff will outperform. Because as you can see here, Litecoin hasn't made a new all time high. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, Litecoin. I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen or my chart, but let me look at ADA really quickly for you. I know I wasn't sharing my chart, but ADA here, where is it? ADA is, like I said, but all that stuff is valid. But I want to show you the chart where I was talking about. It's in a nice corrective coil up here. Again, I think it's going to lead to all time highs in in the coming months and years. But as far as Litecoin, same kind of thing. Who knows if it ever makes new all time highs? I think it's possible. I think Litecoin maybe is more of a, if you're trading leverage trading or you're looking for more of a shorter term, pop. I think it usually has bigger runs off these lows. Now, is it, something, one of the top coins I'd advise, suggest people buy right now? Probably not. Again, because it's just been ranging and not much is going on with Litecoin. But again, I think generally it's in a nice correction here and probably moves higher at some point. Just like who knows if it, long term what it does. But I hope that's what you meant, Diamond Pug by RWAs. If you have any other RWAs or whatever you want me to look at, then go ahead and send it. Can you hear me now? Okay. Uh, I was told by my producer that my sound rugged for a second, but Diamond Pug, if you have any other RWAs, I hope that's what you meant. But yeah, let me send it in the chat if you have any other ones. This reminds me of the time when Bitcoin was struggling to break 50K back in 2021. Good point. Let's go ahead and look at that. Back in 2021, let's see. So you're saying like right here, when it was struggling to break 50, like here. Um, yeah, I could see why you could see that, but again, I think what's likely to happen is this is just a corrective channel, just like we saw in summer of 23, or I'm sorry, just like we saw in the summer of 2024, summer of 2023. I think we're just coming out of a bigger correction, but we're seeing kind of a lot of struggle at this all-time high, which is pretty common. Very rarely, we actually last year just broke right through it, which is pretty rare. Usually, you're going to get some type of struggle, so not surprised. I think what's likely to happen here again is we bottom out here over the weekend and into next week, probably move higher. Let me go back to the chat. We'll move on to some other stuff here in a second, memes, all that good stuff. So if you guys have any chart requests, comments, questions, anything, make sure to leave that in the chat. I have 469 people in here, or at least on here at some point in the last 17 minutes, which is fucking amazing. Love you guys so much. Please let me know where you're at in the chat. I want to know where you're at in the world. I always like to see where all the homies in the world are at. Teacher 96 Katie, appreciate you. What's actually happening to the market? Honestly, I'm just tired of this whole pattern. I'm not sure what you mean by this whole pattern. If you mean volatility, I would say get used to it. It's always going to be here. Max has been pretty adamant that with these new institutional crowd coming in, that very likely we do move higher and kind of go in this up only trajectory, but there will be big corrections like we saw the last few months where people get scared out. There's a lot of fear, turmoil. That's never going to go away. So I would say just I don't know where you're at in your trading journey, but just like I think everybody can just better off just ignoring the fear. And if you have a long-term outlook on crypto, NFTs, whatever, you just buy and be patient and just wait it out, right? So I think this is kind of just another short-term volatility. What do you think, Bren? Where are we going from here? Obviously, in the short term, who knows? Like the very short term, we could move down a little bit lower, but I think we're moving higher in the coming weeks. Markets red today and fell for an airdrop scam. Sorry to hear that, bro. Be careful. Are we dumping on the because of the news of the U.S. causing? Yeah. So yeah, markets move down and assets move down because there's more sellers than buyers. A lot of times there's news that will, you know, cause sell-offs and all that, but a lot of times it's not because of the news. It's just they see these big drops and they use the news to try to explain the moves. Um, who knows why this, it happened. Like I said, I think it's more due to us being at these all-time highs in these the all-time high multi-month high, which you're usually going to see volatility there. It doesn't matter what's happening. So not surprised to see it either way. So I think that's why more likely it's happening. When is your next chart tutorial video dropping? Great question. I'm actually dropping that today in the Telegram. I'll go ahead and use this time real quickly to do a bit of a reset. 17 minutes in, 500 people in here. That's fucking amazing, or at least 500 views. Uh, if you guys could please like, retweet, comment, bookmark this stream so we can get this out on the algorithm to more people. I like to think of that we do these streams twice a week. Usually, I have Max on, and then another host of mine for Loco. We're gonna add on actually somebody I'm super excited to announce that we're gonna add on as a co-host to kind of help me out is my boy Gambler. I know a lot of you guys know him. Great energy. This guy's been running Twitter Spaces and streams for months and I think a couple of years now. A lot of experience, great energy. He comes with great questions. So super excited to have him on with me here soon. I don't know if he's in here right now, but shout out to him. Um, but yeah, what was I going to say? We do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. PST, and then today, Friday, 10 a.m. PST. Been doing this for a while. Different people in and out helping. Gonna be me, Max. Like I said, Gambler. We're gonna have great guests. I like to think of it as like a one-stop shop of not just meme coins, NFTs, major analysis on the majors, but then also Max Crypto 6, like I was telling you about, bringing a lot of this, breaking down this vision of where he thinks crypto's going, of, not just prices going up, but, you know, crypto technology kind of taking over and improving the world as a whole, meaning our industry is really just getting started. We're all pioneers here. So just getting started with these streams. I plan on doing these for a very long time. And I'm super fucking stoked to have you guys here. If you guys could like, retweet, comment, all that good stuff. Someone brought up the chart tutorial series. Fucking oops. Chart tutorial series that I have. I just started doing it in the Boss Band Calls Telegram channel. You guys might have seen the clip that I put out yesterday, talking about the three major market phases. Um, this is just a clip kind of going over a longer video that I did in the Telegram, 10-15 minutes. Have two videos out so far, one on the three phases, and then the next one on the first phase, breaking down in depth the impulse, right? Kind of a lot of what I look at charts as is, you got to break it down, essentially breaking it down into these three major phases, identifying the behavior, and essentially that'll tell you how to position yourself next, whether to be adding, taking profit, or de-risking in some cases. So definitely check out the chart video series that I'm starting in the Telegram. Long, in-depth videos, and just the other great stuff that's in there as well. And like I said, go ahead and check out Max's Twitter that is in the bio as well. Again, really appreciate you guys for being on. 556 people on here, only 20 minutes in. Crazy. Didn't know Max was this big. Yeah, Max is great. He's an amazing guy, and I just learned so much from him, and I know the world can learn a lot from him as well. So great to have him on. Sent in your DMs, bro. Oh, my bad. Here, let me make sure. I'm gonna look at it in the DM that I'm not, or a tab that I'm not sharing. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Okay, I see you. I see you. With ETH holding this, okay. Ella Timo, and I'm butchering your name, brother. Always in here. I always appreciate you seeing you in here. He asked, with ETH holding this well, once Bitcoin stop correcting, Bitcoin dominance should drop. That's a great question. Let's pull up Bitcoin Dom. So Bitcoin dominance, for those who aren't aware, is essentially measures the dominance that Bitcoin has over the total crypto market cap. So as you can see, it's at 64% right now, which means it dominates. It's Bitcoin's total of the crypto total market cap. Bitcoin makes up 64% of it. In the past, people have used this to essentially, predict when there's going to be an alt season, in a lot of ways. Max, actually, we asked him about this the other day. Typically, I'll go ahead and tell you what I think about Bitcoin dominance. I think there is going to be a time where Bitcoin dominance, at least temporarily, does come down into the 60s and maybe chops around for a bit, which will probably coincide and go along with a quote unquote alt season, which there's alt seasons everywhere. There's meme coins, moving at all times, right? But alt season traditionally, in my view at least, just means where everything's kind of moving together, where you'll see memes, alts, RWAs, gaming coins kind of all moving together. And kind of usually when Bitcoin dominance comes down, that means ETH is outperforming Bitcoin as well, right? So I do think we get a period here that does happen, maybe after a bit more upside, on here. But with that being said, Max made a great point last couple weeks ago that Bitcoin dominance over the overall market cap could and probably will keep climbing over time. But that doesn't mean that alts and the memes and all that stuff can't go crazy at the same time. In fact, we saw in December, kind of right here in December of 24, maybe the summer of 24 on to February of 2025, kind of like this 6 month period, we saw Bitcoin dominance go from 50 all the way to around 65%. But at the same time, we saw Giga, SPX, Mog, a lot of these coins also go crazy. So while I do think there will be like a kind of a temporary stall in Bitcoin dominance and like an alt season, I think Bitcoin dominance could continue up for the next 5 years, but the industry as a whole grows and we still see memes, alts, a lot of these coins go crazy. So I think it's more important to look at kind of Bitcoin versus like on an individual basis, like Bitcoin versus ETH or Bitcoin versus Sol, as more of a like accurate way to measure this. I think like Max was saying, people might have to start using like another way of looking at this chart, right? Because Bitcoin dominance could go straight to 80%, but that doesn't mean that ETH, Sol, all these other coins aren't gonna do well as in the meantime as well, right? Or even outperform Bitcoin. What do you think will happen? Sorry, I know I'm behind on a lot of these comments. I want to catch up. What do you think will happen to the crypto AI space, the top 20 only? Depends what you mean, Diamond. Do you mean the crypto AI meme coin space like Zero Bro, AI 16Z, those ones? Or do you mean the TAOs, the PAL AIs, all that? I think the PAL AIs, the TAOs, a lot of those are very, very undervalued. Are going to do very extremely well. If you're over the next 6 months, but as well as over the next 5, 10 years. As far as what's it called? If you're talking about the AI meme coin, AI agent, whatever you want to call it, kind of meta that popped up last year, I think GOAT AI 16Z, a lot of these, just like we've seen historically in other niches, will recover. Which ones will? Who knows? I think AI 16Z maybe GOAT because it has that like story with the being the original kind of AI type, not coin, but just coming from Truth Terminal. And but if you mean the AI like Tau, all that, I think those are great buys. I think those are going to get a lot of institutional love, and just like obviously the crossroads between AI and crypto in one, like those two narratives, I think obviously is going to be extremely strong. We can't see your screen. Okay, I think that's from 15 minutes ago. You should be able to see it now. That's why I called him Sir Max. He's a legend, yeah. And Doge, surprisingly, no one's talking about Doge. Yeah, no, I think Doge as well is going to go above a dollar. I think Doge is going to make new all time highs easily. I think it's the Bitcoin of memes. I think whether Elon even mentions it again, ever again or not, I think in this upcoming digital asset super cycle that I think is coming, and I want to kind of clarify what I mean by digital asset super cycle. Essentially, a super cycle is a cycle that breaks the old. Pretty much all it means for me really is a cycle that can breaks the old 4 year cycle uh notion where we go up for Bitcoin chops for a year or two, goes up, and then on the fourth year tops out, and then we get a perfect 50% correction on Bitcoin, and then we go back up 2 years later. I think that's over. I think we have very likely anything can happen, right? Can't speak in absolutes, but I think very likely that's over, and we are going to see what a quote unquote super cycle, meaning we're not going to top out on this fourth year, and instead, what I think is going to happen is we're going to see a lot of what we've seen the last few years, where instead of the old bull markets of the past, where you saw ETH or Bitcoin go up straight up only for 2 years and then crash 75%, I think Bitcoin's going to look more like the S&P 500, where it fucking goes up for 6 months, chops sideways or corrects for 6 months, goes up for 3 to 6 months, chops and corrects for 6 months, goes up for 6 months, chops and corrects for 6 months, and kind of just chops, continues to move higher, doesn't overheat so fast, and it just continues on this trajectory of like what the S&P 500 looked like for the last 10 years, right? Like this, where, yeah, it had corrections along the way. This is the S&P 500 since 2010, right? Yeah, it had big corrections along the way of 50%, 40%, but just continues to chop higher. I think that's what's likely to happen here. And I think that not only were you hitting a crypto super cycle, a meme coin super cycle, but a digital asset super cycle where the majors, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, RWA, gaming, memes, and NFTs are all going to do well behind this like mass adoption of digital assets. NFTs are going to be used for real estate, for digital collectibles, for all these different things, which is going to make these original IPs or like the just going to create a huge speculative wave and bull run. So I just wanted people to know what I mean when I say digital asset super cycle or super cycle in general. Is I think that very likely that 4 year cycle is over, and we just have mini cycles throughout where Bitcoin's just going to continue up for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Obviously with big corrections and washouts and fear along the way. But I don't think we see, very likely, unless something catastrophic happens, I don't think we see a 4 year top. I think we see a super cycle where we continue up for many many years. Thank you, boss. Appreciate you, Diamond. CRO and Wild. Yeah, we'll look at that in just a second. Brent, I'll be back in 10. Appreciate you. Dylan Mintz, what's up, Dylan? I appreciate you, bro. I hope you're still in here. Great question about AVAX. AVAX is actually my top L1 holding other than Bitcoin ETH Sol. I think AVAX, because of the coming gaming narrative, that gaming narrative, bull run, whatever you want to call it, AVAX is positioned very well to be that kind of main gaming chain. We saw what was that game called? Fucking Off the Grid, built on AVAX. A lot of these big games that are up and coming, Pretty much for crypto gaming, all we really need is one of two things for crypto gaming to kind of pop off in the mainstream, and then as well as like these crypto gaming assets to blow up. Is we need either a GTA 6 like game or like a big game to adopt crypto, which a lot of people think that's less likely. They think that option two, which is a crypto native game coming up, people love to play, and that kind of blows up. A lot of people think that's the most likely scenario. Either one of those, I think, is going to create, whenever that happens, is going to create a big speculative wave where a lot of these, there's going to be a fat gaming bull run essentially. Whether that's next month, 6 months from here now, a year from now, when GTA 6 comes out, who fucking knows? But I think either way, AVAX is positioned very well for when that happens to do very well. Chart wise, it looks very good. Barely moved yet. Made a kind of a big run in 24. Made another big run in 23. But I think when it does pick up here, it's going to go nuts. Kind of in a corrective channel, not kind of like actually in a very strong kind of corrective channel here, and then probably bottoms out, maybe double bottoms out here. But once it does break above $80, I think it goes to all time highs. I think yeah, I think it's positioned very well in the gaming bull run. Dylan, I know that you've been very involved in the AVAX ecosystem with memes and all that good shit. So I would say hold your fucking AVAX. I don't think it's gotten started yet at all, obviously. So Bren, don't miss me. Always here. I appreciate you, brother. ORS. Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, now we're getting to the countries that are where you're from, which I asked like 15 minutes ago. New York, baby. That's what's up. What do you think about Fwog? We'll go over Fwog right here in a second. Fwog's one of my high conviction memes. It's kind of gone through its rite of passage with its 90% correction. We'll go ahead and look at that chart here, brother. I won't forget about it. Love you, Bren. Love you too, Divine. Love you too, Bren. Thanks for all you do. Chicago. That's what's up, bro. I was actually in Chicago for the first time. Uh, what was that? 3-4 weeks ago. Fucking love it, dude. It's one of my favorite cities that I visited. I went to get some good food. Checked out the city a bit. Ondo, yeah, Ondo is a good one. I think that's what you mean. Ondo, the asset, right? Is Bitcoin dominance topped with Ethereum showing strength? We'll see. I think it's possible. My Wi-Fi right now. Love Gambler. Yeah, Gambler's great, man. Great host. Yeah, Gambler's amazing. Just want to catch up on your guys' comments. Sir Max has really helped me with my mindset about the crypto market, so I no longer get jittery about these red days. Amazing. Brad, have you considered TikTok or Twitch for lives? Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. I actually started a TikTok here like a couple weeks ago. Haven't really done too much engaging or pushing it yet, but if you guys want to check it out, it's at TikTok. TikTok.com/Bren Trades with one S. Have some clips up there. Gonna go super hard on there. I think at TikTok you have to have 5,000 followers um, before you go live. So gonna get up to there. I think they accept some people before 5K. So hope to get on there. Yeah, but yeah, one of the big goals is to be streaming on TikTok. Great visibility on there. I think TikTok is going to be a huge asset to the crypto world once things heat up here. So yeah, no, I'm already on TikTok. Twitch, I haven't started one yet, but yeah, we're actually streaming on YouTube right now. If you look at this, I don't know, I haven't started
I
one
have
yet,
been.
but
I
yeah, we're actually streaming on only I haven't really pushed on YouTube at all either. We just kind of wanted to just stay on here, so I'll use this as a opportunity. Definitely go check out the YouTube. Gonna put some long form content over on there here pretty soon. Kind of the big push over the next 6 months to a year for me is just content. Getting the Instagram going as well. Brent at Instagram/Brent Trades. Now focusing on the TikTok, YouTube, trying to be everywhere. So definitely check out the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram if you haven't already. Really appreciate you guys. Gonna do some cool giveaways and all that good stuff on there. So morning y'all. What's up, Rojan? Any hope of Harambe making a comeback? Yes. I'll go over Harambe here in a second. I think it is already coming back a little bit. And I think Harambe being one of the biggest memes of all time, kind of multiple years in the game now, I think always has a shot to run it back. So we'll go over that. What do you think about Angels? We'll look at that. I will start to go over memes here in a second. You guys can ask all of them. I already saw Flog, we need to go over. We'll go over angels. How will Bitcoin compete with central bank digital currencies? Well, you asked Max that question. He was saying that they're probably not even going to get to the central bank digital currencies. That USDC will kind of be, and the stable coins will kind of be de facto stable or central bank digital currencies. I think this dystopian vision that there's going to be central bank digital currencies where they're going to be able to control everything you do and all that. I'm not sure that's what happened. I think the powers that be, if anything, are going to use crypto to kind of shape the world. Um, and I think that's why we see BlackRock and a lot of these big institutions really pushing to not only do the regulatory stuff but accumulate a lot of the supply of these assets. So I don't think CBDCs are going to be this scary thing. I think maybe some countries try it, but I think the free world is going to continue to use or is going to use open decentralized blockchains, and kind of have stable coins be that de facto. Yeah, we'll look at Tau. Let me look at Tau really quickly for you before we move on to memes. Tau USDC USDT. Yeah, Tau came out of this beautiful corrective channel here. Kind of hasn't really done much since its inception or since it kind of dropped down in 2024. I think Tau is kind of the Bitcoin of AI tech coins right now. You see a lot of people talking about Tau being the coin that has the best chance to go on like a Bitcoin type run. It has a lot of things. Their whole goal is to kind of be the decentralized, to kind of make AI decentralized instead of this, centralized Chat GBT or GBT, Google, Grok, maybe not so much Grok, but these big entities doing this CGI or whatever. I think a lot of the vision is to kind of have a decentralized vision for AI, right? Where kind of everybody has ownership in it. I think that's kind of the vision. And I think it continues to go up with everything else. Already came out of this corrective channel up about 2x on the bottom. I expect Tau to do very well in the coming years, so I would hold on my Tau. I've been accumulating a bit. I wish I had a bigger position than I do, but it's one of the one that I've been buying for sure. We'll look at WLD. I'll look at one more. Render. All of those are going to continue to do well. They're the big ones that have been around for a bit. So actually, this looks really really good. Oh, World. Yeah, yeah, World Coin. That's what I was doing. I did a write up in the Telegram on it the other day. Let me see if I can pull it up actually. Let me see. Let me share my screen real quick for you guys. Let me make sure I'm good to go. All right. I'm glad you brought that one up, Diamond. All right. Share my whole screen real quick. I can't believe I have 735 people in here. I fucking love that. I wish Twitter would show live viewership though, but okay, so yeah, I did a write up on the uh WorldCoin the other day. Uh WorldCoin may not be the bet. May Yeah, WorldCoin is attached to WorldCoin, the real human network, which is founded by Sam Altman and others, which is attempting to create an anonymous proof of digital identity system by scanning people's eyeballs. Which I mean, some people think that's batshit crazy. Something people think that's the future. Maybe a little bit of both. Who fucking knows? Usually the truth's in the middle, right? But I think either way, the coin has a lot of potential to do very well chart wise. I think you have Sam Altman, who obviously is a very famous and maybe a lot of people a lot of different opinions on him, but he's shown to be a good operator. Obviously, who he's shown he's an operator, right? So I think having a coin that's been around for a couple years, who's obviously going to have a lot of media press and talks on it, who has Sam. What's up? Okay. Anyway, fucking Sam Altman, he's an operator, whatever. All those comment things in combination, I think I'll pull up the chart right here first. Where is it? I think beautiful corrective channel as well. This is a nice correction it's in. I think WorldCoin in this like next kind of big run that's coming, I think is going to do really well. Say what you want about it, ethically, whatever. If you think the fucking WorldCoin idea is a good idea or not, I think the coin very likely will break up out of this correction that it's in, and probably go back to all time highs. Obviously, it's a low float coin, which means a lot of the supply is still in the hands of VCs, which will create a lot of volatility. But I do think it very likely continues higher in the coming months and years. Thanks for bringing those up, Diamond. Really appreciate that. Tau is running great in this cycle. Yeah, Trump media officially signs 2.32 billion deal to buy Bitcoin. 100. Yeah, that's crazy. I think it's one shows Trump is serious. Um, sorry, I want to. Am I not here? I'm gonna go back to sharing the individual tabs here. Um, yeah, you see, it just shows that Trump. It just shows that Trump is serious about the whole crypto thing. He's putting his money where his mouth is. I think we're going to see a lot of other companies do the same. Thoughts on Zoom Meta, Peanut, Doge, Peanut? I haven't looked at Peanut in a bit. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. Peanut on. So, I don't know, man. I don't have a crazy strong opinion on Peanut. I think most of this stuff is going to run. Just it, I just think it, I just don't know whether it goes back to all time highs or not. It's if you still think there's a strong community, you still feel strongly about it. This is the time you want to buy. I just don't really have a strong. I would say it's on Binance and is it on Coinbase? I think it's on Coinbase. It's already on the big exchanges. Obviously, Peanut was a big thing. If I had to guess, I would say this probably moves higher. And if it's one of your higher conviction coins, this is the time you want to buy. Honestly, I think we might exceed 150K this year. I think it's possible with Misty. The 4 year cycle is making less sense by the day. Absolutely. Quick one, Bren. What do you think of useless coin? Yeah, let's go look at that. Okay. So let me put this on the log. See, I've heard of useless and I've seen it around and seen some people I know talking about it, but besides the chart, I really don't know too much about it at all. I will say if you do have conviction in it, you think there's a good community, that you think there's a movement behind it, this is the time you want to be accumulating. I will say this does look pretty corrective, even though it's down about 60%. But I will say this is like a do or die moment for it. So if you do feel strongly about it, other than the chart with the everything going on, I'm sorry, with like the community, everything, you think there's something special or unique going on with this. This is the time you want to be buying. That's all I can really say. I wish I knew more about the coin itself. Shit, I'm not staring at the screen. I wish I knew more about the coin itself. Um, but yeah, I would say this is the time you want to buy again during these corrections. Generally, you want to be buying while stuff's correcting, while people are kind of fading it, if you do believe that it has staying power. Of course, not everything's going to come back out, right? GTA 5, check out Angels. Yeah, AVAX is going to be ready soon. Thanks for the invites. Ever talk about Bit License? No, I haven't. I don't know too much about it, to be honest. You could if you want to tell us something about it, bro, I'll read it. Do we see do we see Bitcoin dominance to 70? I think it's possible, bro. Again, I don't think there needs to be a huge Bitcoin dominance crash for alts to run necessarily. Send link of TikTok in the comments. Yeah, it's TikTok.com/Bren Trades. If you just type in Bren Trades, you'll see it. Uh, can't stop me now. If you actually want to run, put if you could the TikTok in the comments. Yeah, if you look for my producer slash friend slash right hand man in the content, can't stop me now. He will be dropping it in the comments of the chat. Or sorry, in the comments of the post. We will definitely take you to 5K on TikTok. I appreciate that, bro. You're a great community leader. Thanks, brother. Pull up on this, brother. Pull up to the A. Oh, you're in Atlanta. That's what's up, bro. Yeah, no, I like Atlanta as well. I actually lived there last summer for a bit. Super fucking humid, but I like it. Got some good ass food there. Sorry, Brian, I missed the early. What's Bitcoin's next move? I think Bitcoin moves higher soon. I think it's just struggling a bit at all time highs, like we should expect it to see. But I think it either bottomed out here or is close, and we move higher soon. how would regulation affect the wild adoption of cryptocurrency? I think regulation is going to do a few things. It's going to eliminate a lot of fear that a lot of people, well, stopped a lot of companies or individuals from creating cryptos or NFTs because of they think that they're going to be uh, you know, prosecuted for creating securities and all that, which Hester Pierce from the SEC and a lot of these other guys have been talking about how they're creating a whole new regulatory framework around NFTs and collectibles that make them collectibles and not securities, which I think is going to alleviate a lot of fear and allow people to try shit. And you're going to see a lot of companies make NFTs and, uh, you know, and not just NFTs, but attach utility to these NFTs and do a lot of cool shit surrounding it, as well as coins as well. So I think it's just going to alleviate a lot of fear. It's going to make it so a lot of these technologies are able to thrive without the worries of governments, fucking them up. For useless coin, read bonk guy thesis. Okay, I'll definitely do that after the stream, bro. Hello, bro. Missed the beginning. Oh, sorry, I already saw that. 841,130. Yeah, got okay. Yeah, 841,130,000 got liquidated today. Do you think prices are intentionally manipulated to force liquidations? If yes, what is the point of decentralization? What's the point of decentralization? Yeah, no, I think that's done a lot at the exchange level. I think a lot of people who are trying to get for a few reasons. A lot of people try to knock certain people out competition wise amongst exchanges. They do it to get better entries. They do it for a lot of reasons. But yeah, manipulation definitely happens, uh, especially in perps. Thank you, thank you for that. Yeah, no, this is the TikTok.com/Brent. Oh, I guess it is with two S's. So Bitcoin's still above 100K and people already. Yeah, you're gonna see this every time. Bitcoin. Most people's and right now, if you're new to crypto or just in general, I think one thing that could help a lot of fucking people is stop focusing. You have to make the way you see the markets or your base case or your whatever the fuck you want to call it based more than just around the most recent price action. Like most people whole bias and their whole view on the markets is literally based on what has the coin or the asset done in the last 2 weeks. It's literally like, okay, coin's down the last 2 months, therefore I'm bearish. Coin up last few months, therefore I'm bullish. You have to form a thesis deeper than that. For me, for example, yes, prices were down, but I continued to highlight and focus on all these great things happening regulatory clarity wise, all these institutions buying, the great corrective chart behavior. That's if you focus on stuff like that while times are bad, quote unquote bad, it allows you to form like a deeper picture, a deeper like belief really in a lot of these coins. The reasons why I have so much belief in a lot of these NFTs and crypto and meme coins is because I get fucking nerdy with it. Like I like to learn about all this different stuff, like more than just the chart, right? Like, and I think you need that kind of stuff to really survive these shitty like pullback, quiet times. So yeah, I mean, you're always going to see people panic and freak out during any type of correction, but you got to use these times. Look at these corrections as a opportunity, not how can I fucking panic and sell all my shit. Or what have you been adding to lately? Been adding to my core memes, SPX, Giga, Mog, uh, ticker Bitcoin, lock in, flog, some Harambe lately. And then those again, I think have the best risk to reward in all of crypto. I think meme coins are just getting started. I think a lot of these coins are down 5-10x, from their all time highs, or 50 to 90% from their all time highs. And I think there's just some no brainer opportunities in the meme coins. With that being said, I think there's great opportunity, and I've been adding to Super, uh, which is a like Super Farm, like a lot of RWA coins, Tau, Pal AI, um, what's it called? What's just a lot of those coins in the altcoin space as well, like the higher cap alts. Generally, I think meme coins, RWA, uh, gaming, decentralized finance, stuff surrounding that is going to do incredibly well. So that's what I've been adding to. I'll have like a more comprehensive list for the next stream. Learn a lot from the streams and no longer getting scared from the dips. That's what it's all about, bro. That's amazing. Brent, can you add the links to all your socials on your Instagram bio so it'll be easier? Yeah, I have a link tree I'll attach to the bio. Generally, all my accounts are at Bren Trades. If you look that up, or Bren. If you guys could literally do me a favor and follow all those accounts, it would help me a lot. Really appreciate that. Dips are opportunity to buy more for sure. That I believe. People always panic. People listen way too much to bear calls on crypto Twitter. Yeah, it just feeds their own like insecurities and fears. Strictly, that's really all it is. They're always ready to start bear. But yeah, even do you see like when we were down here, besides us in the stream and like a few other people like Kaleo, you had I'm not going to name names, but like you had the biggest, literally the biggest. Besides Murad's probably the biggest crypto Twitter account. Besides him, like I'm not going to name names, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Like the literally the biggest crypto Twitter accounts telling you that like 50K was, yeah, if we're going to 50K and the de-risk and you know gloating on how they literally sold and all this shit, and then what do you know, like a week later we fucking ripped up. Fuck it, what was I tying that to? Oh yeah, people always listen to bear calls. Yeah, my whole point is like very 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 few people were bullish during that time. Like it was like ridiculed or looked down on to be fucking bullish during that time, or looked at as a moon boy. Like, but yeah, you're right, 90% of people were bearish, even those quote unquote uh big accounts that are supposed to be what people look to. And again, I'm not shitting on people, but you make a great point that yeah, I mean, everybody was bearish as hell. And it just goes to show that the fear and media headlines, even the people who have been around from a long time, get caught up in that type of shit. So, what do you think about desync? I'll look at desync. Oh, Joe, also appreciate that so much. Let me look at something real quick. Uh, yeah, yeah, I told them to come in. That's fine. Sorry, I just got a message. Um, we're gonna have Max pop in here right now. Ansem was bear, yeah, yeah. All these calls always give him bearish vibes. So bad though. A personal question, if you don't mind, can you tell us something we don't know about you? What do you do for fun outside of crypto? That's a good question, Miss D. I'm really, really enthralled. Like I'm really all in with crypto. Like not only crypto's not only for me, even before I started making a lot of money, before I had any followers or anything, like crypto's always been very entertaining for me. Like I always loved watching 2 hour podcasts. Like everything about it just very entertaining. So like I'm lucky to have found something I love that's also, love that I'm good at, that's also very lucrative. So I love crypto. I spent a lot of my time, doing this social part on Twitter, all this different stuff. But outside of crypto, I really have liked traveling lately. Like I haven't been, up until a couple years ago, like wasn't able to, or just wasn't traveling. So I've been all over the country this year, like looking to go to Europe and other stuff this year. I love working out. Really made that a priority this year. Um, Really, I don't know. I've always loved YouTube and watching stuff on there. Not been always never really got into Netflix and stuff like that. And so I spent a lot of time watching interviews and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say working out, traveling, stuff like that. I really love doing. Most calls, no nothing. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, I think Max will be popping in here for a second. So if you guys haven't had a opportunity to hear him, you're in for a treat. Um, Here, I need to plug in my laptop actually while we have this time. But yeah, guys, if you guys could if you guys are popping in, we're just looking at some stuff. I'm gonna go over some memes here in a second. We're gonna have our boy Max hop in for a little bit as well. We're gonna go over some stuff. I'm gonna go over kind of where I see memes, what memes I see being the juiciest. here in a second. Let me look. Let me pull this up. Always enjoy Max's analysis. Need your analysis on TPT. The prompt theory. Yeah, you hear a lot about the prompt theory like in the mainstream right now, and I will say it's right sitting right at like a 3 day high. You really need to see it clear this high, or else at it's really at risk. At if it doesn't clear this high, it's really at risk of falling down here. So you want to see it power right through this all time high. If it's able to do that, I would say it's probably going to continue higher. If not, it's at risk of coming back down, maybe all the way down to 0.003 or just a little bit lower or somewhere down in here. You just really want to see it break this all time high. Um, oh, yeah. Let's see. What's Bitcoin doing? But yeah, Max, or not Max, James Wynn, crazy, crazy last few days for that guy. You see him still in good spirits, which is insane. But for those of you who kind of missed the saga, James Wynn got liquidated 16 million. At one point, he took 500K to $82 million on a Bitcoin long, and then, or no, even more than that. Yeah, he went to 82 mil. Um, Here, one second, guys. Sorry, guys, I got a call. Hey, how you
Hey,
doing, Max?
I am sorry, guys. Wow, long call with lawyers and unable to get off of it. So I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Nice to see you. For those of you guys don't know, maybe you're new to the streams. You guys, this is Max Crypto Six. Him and I have been doing the streams together for a couple months. Super blessed to have him on here. This guy is been in the traditional finance game for many decades. Been on Forbes, Fox, CNBC, all these different publications hundreds of times, giving his takes. And then not only that, was also very early to the crypto world as well. $7 ETH, $700 Bitcoin. He pretty much put on a master class the last few months of telling people to ignore the fear and bullshit, but as well as back up the truck throughout this whole tariff stuff. So super blessed to have him on. Now Max was telling us most recently that he's been working on a Bitcoin documentary with a
Yep,
lot of big names, not only in crypto, but then also in the production side of things. Max, for those people who haven't heard about the documentary yet, you want to give them a bit of a breakdown from what you can
sure,
tell?
sure. We've done a couple of them, but not on Bitcoin. This will be the first one on Bitcoin. Our producer is a great guy out of Wisconsin. I've worked with him, or we've worked with him for probably a decade now. He did two tours in Iraq with CBS News. He was a frontline guy, right there where the stuff was hitting the fan. And honey, he was there the day they got Saddam out of the rabbit hole.
Wow.
Um, so he's got a pretty impressive resume. He's won 5 Emmy awards. And then our director of photography, I don't know if anybody watches TV over here, but Wednesday night is called Dick Wolf Night because it has Chicago Med and Chicago Fire and Chicago PD and all Chicago shows. Well, our buddy Lance is the director of photography for all of Wednesday night with Dick Wolf. So just so you know, Dick Wolf is the guy that created Law and Order. That was his first big series. So Dick Wolf is like a main name in the TV business. So be interesting, and we're going to share everything Bitcoin and help people understand what it's doing, why it's doing it, and how you have to live with it because eventually everybody will have to live with it.
Amazing. So like obviously you don't want to say too much. I want the people to be able to see it themselves, but it's gonna, I assume, go into the history,
Oh
you
yeah.
all of that, and then kind of the whole vision moving forward.
Well, everything about volatility and the emotional roller coaster that too many people associate with it. Let me. I just had a call earlier today with a client who said, "Yeah, Mike, why is it going from 108 to 104,000?" And I said, "I tell you how I look at Bitcoin." I said, "I look at Bitcoin without the three zeros. So knock off the three zeros and ask yourself this: if you owned Microsoft and one day it went from 108 to 104, would you run out and jump off a cliff?" Well, of course you wouldn't. I mean, Microsoft has gone from 108 to 104 5,000 times in its lifetime. So stop worrying about uh, don't worry about these things. They're remember, it's a bucking bronco, and its job is to make sure you don't ride 8 seconds. Okay, that's the deal. So don't buy into this garbage. Uh, there's nothing different about this little hiccup than any of the other hiccups. Here's how this is going to work. It's summertime. Remember that it's summertime. You don't have as many people paying attention. It's easy to push a market around. I don't care what market it is. It's easy to push a market around when less people are involved in the fight, right? And by the way, it's always a fight. There's always a buyer and seller who clearly have a different opinion about what's going on. The the buyer has a directly opposite view of what the seller does. So happens all day long, every day of the week, 90 million times. Um, but in our world, we have to let this stuff go. And you're gonna find this thing. I think we even talked about this when we were talking about $110,000 a couple of streams ago. I think I said, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we chopped a little. We got a little too high on sentiment, and chopping around will wear that off. Well, guess what? It's wearing it off, and that's good news. That's exactly what you want. uh, I mean, I have a direct question for everybody who always gets nervous about Bitcoin's price movement. A, it's not productive, but B, if you're going to buy into it, if if Bitcoin is going to $1 million, do you want to buy it at 100 or 110?
It doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter, but you sure would like to buy it at 100 if you could,
Yeah, you're right.
right? If you had a choice, 100 is a lot better than 110.
Yep.
Bren's right. It doesn't matter in the end, but when you're living through it, if unless you think Bitcoin is going to zero, why wouldn't you love every single dip?
Yep. That's what I was trying to say. That was what I was saying earlier before you hopped on, that got to start training your mind to think of these corrections, whether it's the big ones that last multiple months, maybe even multiple years, but especially the ones that are like these short couple day corrections, couple week corrections, as opportunity, not as how can I get scared, and you know what I mean. So,
Right.
oh, somebody asked real quickly before we forget, Max, will the documentary be coming here in August?
If it doesn't, I think he means Australia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said Aug. My bad. Australia.
Um, I will make sure we post it so everybody will be able to get a copy of it no matter what.
Yeah, you'll see it on Max's Twitter. Again, I'll just use this opportunity. If you guys are not following Max, you should be. Team, like I said, at Max Crypto 6. A lot of great tweets, like you'll hear on these streams, but a lot more content. He posts his newsletters. A lot more cool stuff coming. So definitely shoot him a follow. But if you're watching these streams, you'll definitely know when the documentary comes out as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think to answer his question, it'll just be available online, right?
It will be available for everybody.
Amazing. Long term is the goal. Thinking short term isn't the way to go. Absolutely. Yeah. So Max, we were talking a little bit about earlier, about a little bit about Bitcoin and this dip. You had said, and we had said a few weeks ago that we should probably expect some type of struggle here at the all time highs, like we usually see at multi month highs and all time highs. Is that more what you're thinking here? Again, it's
Oh
just
yeah,
more of a battle before we move higher.
this should not be surprising anybody. You remember what we said? It's like Gettysburg. There's a group of guys on one side, and then 75 yards in the other direction, there's another group, and neither one of them agree with each other. So they just shoot at each other until you can't shoot anymore. And right now, one side's winning, and pretty soon the other side's going to win. And uh, that is perfectly normal in a breakout. It's just unfortunately the way it goes.
100%. Did you yeah, it's just especially at all-time highs, at multi-month highs, which yeah, and then on combination with all-time highs, it's like you should almost expect some type of big move like this. So I was highlighting earlier how ETH has barely fucking uh even moved or barely even flinched compared to the other two. And that just goes to show there's probably a lot of inflows in ETH right now, and I think it's probably gonna explode really hard on this next move up. So looking forward to that. Also, we today we saw crypto regulatory bill come up to I don't know what stage it's at or whatever, but it's just something we've been talking about for a while and how they were trying to move fast on these structural bills. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. But what else did you see? I saw that you guys, Max, did you check out a lot of what was happening at the Bitcoin conference?
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
live stream. I saw you guys had that on the screen on the
yep,
thing.
yep.
What were some of your favorite talks or some stuff you took away from some stuff you saw?
Well, obviously, everybody wanted to talk to or hear Sailor. I think I think Mallers did good. Um, he's still young, so he kind of offends some people, but doesn't seem to care, um, which is fine. I think what came out of it to me is it's still so small. I mean, that wasn't tens of thousands of people listening. That was about 1,500 people in that room. So it is, if you ever really wondered how much more there is, it's brand new. Everybody who stares at the screen every day, which you shouldn't do, but everybody who does is all encompassed by it. So therefore, they believe that that's the rest of the world's view too. What they don't realize is 98 out of 100 people can barely spell Bitcoin, much less know much about it. So this is how when you're watching a baseball game and the pitchers are warming up and umpires are getting the cards from the managers at the home plate. You know how early that part of the game is?
Yep.
Well, think of the day before that, and that's where we are. We're thinking about the game tomorrow.
Yeah, and somebody I was on, I think it was in the Telegram comments yesterday. It said, because I put a poll in there asking, and I think I should pull it up maybe. I had to put a poll in there asking when people who had come into crypto like made their first trade or buy, and somebody had said, "Oh yeah, like I feel like I'm so late," and I was telling him like 10 years from now you're gonna look back and realize you're so fucking early. I think a lot of people can't conceptualize, especially people like us who have been around for 6 7 years, to think, "Oh yeah, this stuff's been around for 15 years. How could we be pioneers?" But like you said, if this is 100 year whatever, like it is just the beginning.
Right.
Um, People must learn to stay away from the charts when necessary. Yeah, just at least not obsessing and watching their every little move for sure. Um, and then obviously, did you see JD Vance's
Yeah,
stock? Yeah, that was
he
pretty
was
good.
great.
What'd you say? Sorry.
I thought he was great.
Yeah, for sure. Just the fact that he was there is amazing.
Hey,
And then
did you play our conference room? Did you see the video of the conference room?
yeah. Let me pull that up. Yeah, that thing looks cool, man. How long has that been under construction? Like that was. How long did that take?
Believe it or not, that only took about 3.5 weeks.
Wow, look at that. That looks so good. What's
The
the what's there something Bitcoin related on the table? I guess it's
Yeah,
orange.
well, what it is an epoxy design. You lay out the white epoxy, and then you pour the orange epoxy down the middle.
Uh
So it just gives you an artistic design of the flow of the fluid, and then you cover it in clear.
for sure. Oh, it looks so good. That screen too. How many inches is that screen?
You measure it in feet. It's 13 feet by 18 feet by 8 feet.
Wow, incredible.
Um, it's uh, it's like being it's like being live in that. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, looks great. Wow. What's up, Rojam? Love the table. Yeah, so do I. Special guest as speakers joining us soon. Yeah, we'll definitely have some guests as time goes on. Where this guy's asking all the deep questions.
Yeah,
Uh, but
that is
wow,
that is my office.
yeah. Uh, wow, this is beautiful. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's just time again, just like a couple months ago, just to stay patient and let this shit play out. A lot of people calling for a double top and just same characters coming out that were going crazy a couple months ago, but yeah,
All the guys that are yelling about double tops are the ones that missed the entire run.
exactly. They're just praying.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely drop some comments and questions for us and Max in the chat. Not too many crazy developments this week besides the Bitcoin conference stuff and regulatory clarity. We talked about James Wynn here again, Max. I don't know if you saw. He not only did he go to zero, but now he's down 18 million. On top, like his act, like he lost all the money that he put in, and then 18 million on top of that. Just crazy. What do you think of Angels? Yeah, I'll go ahead and look at that. Where do deck screener? Angels. Sunny Angels. Is that what it's released? Oh, okay, it's like the Labubu thing. Okay, yeah. So, see, this is another one I don't have a crazy opinion on. I don't know too much about anything but the chart. It is down now. What 60, 70%. You know, again, I don't have any strong opinion on anything other than what I can show you here on the chart, and it's not much that can tell me because again, there's coins that this could go 60, 70%, bottom out, and then go back to all time highs, or it could die from here. I'd have to know, you know, about other stuff, and I have to like see, the community and all this other different stuff about it to really give you a strong opinion. So I would say again, just in any of these coins, if this is one that you do think has like staying power and you really do think is gonna survive, this is the time you want to be accumulating. Not when it's pumping, not when everybody's talking about it. It's during these times. Again, is this coin going to survive? I have no clue. I don't know anything too much about it to tell you that. But I would again just get into the mindset if this is a coin that you think has staying power, is now is the time you want to accumulate, not on the way up. Um, this week didn't really have much to be honest. Yeah, exactly. But it's yeah. Some whales saying that James Wynn paid someone. Yeah, who knows? When is Bossman speaking? The conference room looks like money. Man, jeez. Yeah, it looks great. Angels is a doll more famous than Labubu. Okay. yeah, I mean, who knows with these derivative plays? Does it follow the loop? Like, I really, I don't know enough to tell you. Brent, I know you fuck with established memes only, but you got to check out Fuck Coin. Oh man, you guys are fucking hilarious. Just for you, bro. I'll check out Fuck Coin. But yeah, I'll go over the memes that I think look the most juicy here in a second for upside. Yeah, I've never seen this Fuck Coin before, but yeah, I mean, looks pretty impulsive. It is sitting at all time highs. You probably want to see it break to the upside here and clear this, or of course, it's always at the risk of moving down back to those lows. Um, but I don't know too much about it. Again, you want to see it break through this all time high definitively, and yeah, there's not much I can tell you. Looks pretty impulsive though. Obviously, the better time would have been to buy down here and here, but I hope you do well on this, brother. James Wayne, we are so hyped on X in the last few days. Yeah, I don't like to buy beta players. Um, boom, boom. But yeah, I'll probably stay on here for another 12, 15 minutes. Like I said, we Max and I, Max was on a call earlier, no problem. Yeah, usually it's him and I to start off the show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST, and then 10 a.m. PST on Fridays. Think of it as like a one-stop shop between memes, crypto, majors, and then a lot of this great insight from Max from all that he's been through with the traditional finance world, and kind of just getting across this message of crypto, this just being just the start for crypto, not only crypto assets but the technology itself, really just adding and improving so many areas of the world, and the people who are invested in those correct assets and have patience are going to do very well. So as you can see, you got the Team 6 crypto logo on the top. This is something that Max's baby and idea, and a brand that we're building again around this vision of positivity and people being along for this vision of where crypto's going. Max, do you want to go ahead and tell the people a little bit about Team 6 Crypto who haven't heard about it before?
Sure. It's really just an effort to provide uh, insights and it's kind of like when you look at your kids and you say, I did that before, and it didn't work out too well. So I can share with you these ideas, or I can let you go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. Um, so under that theme, uh, we're here to help quiet the mind, understand the likely pathway, give you thoughts on parallel events, because markets all tend to do the same thing, maybe at different times, but they all do the same thing. This is a very young market. It's a very tiny market in the grand scheme of things. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it is. But that means in itself two things: volatility, meaning prices are going to move around a lot, and as adoption grows, a much higher price. So that's what your cost of a higher price is time in the ring. You're not going to be able to miss the ring and get the price, right? There's no there. That's not one of your choices. You get two choices. You can leave the ring and not get the price, or you can play the game right, keep your head down, stay focused, be patient, and then you get paid. And if you can do that, that's a great road to travel. But you got to be somewhat emotionless. You got to leave your feelings at the door, and the quieter you can make your feelings, the better you're going to be.
Amazing. So yeah, definitely go and shoot Max a follow. Definitely go check out Team 6 Crypto on Instagram and TikTok as well. There will be a Twitter page at some point as well, but Appreciate you guys for all being on and supporting the streams. Like I said, I'll probably be on here for another 5 to 10 minutes. I want to get to a couple more of your guys' comments and questions. Paraverse, yeah, I can go and check that out here in a second, brother. Somebody asked in the comments, Max, ask Max if he's heard of Buckazoids. It was at the Bitcoin conference.
Buckazoids. I can't say I have. I'm sorry.
I think it has to do with something like I think somebody that they think like I think it was something with Hal Finney or something. He worked on this thing called like Buckazoids that was in this game that he supposedly worked on where it showed that he like worked had something in Bitcoin a long time ago. But yeah, I don't know exactly too much either. But yeah, no name. Max says he hasn't. Good morning. PVS is the ticker. Yeah, I'll look at that right now. Always love. Soul says, good GM chat. Hope everyone has been having a great week. Buy the fucking dip. Yes. Yes. Always love attending the streams. Thanks for the spread, of course. Have I heard of Zbeck? Yeah, we were talking about that last week. Max said he bought the very low of Zbeck.
Yeah.
Max created the low. So
Yeah. Right. Right. I just told everybody you were buying, so that's what did it.
okay. Buckazoids has a Bitcoin logo inside a game. Yes, it was like it was in this game in what the 80s or 90s, and they were saying Hal Finney worked on it or something. I don't know. What do you think about Launchcoin, Brand? Yeah, no, I've been learning a lot more about Launchcoin and the Believe app. Generally, whether it's a Believe app, like I think it's great. The concept of making tokenization, like what Coinbase is doing with the coining thing, with Believe app, which is just going to push along tokenization. Believe specifically is in capital formation, like and for people to be able to raise capital through tokens pretty easily or whatever. And I think that's cool. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of scams that come out of that. Most of the coins are going to go to zero, but I'm sure you'll see a lot of cool stuff going out of there. But generally, the technology for people enabling people to spin up tokens quicker, I think, is just going to move along tokenization in general. Um, the new XRP. Oh, you're talking about Zbeck? Yeah, I think it looks good. How Finney and Buckazoids is the latest theory on who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Yeah, I think they're alleging that, or they're saying that Hal Finney worked on that video game, but I've also seen that there's nothing to prove that either. Who knows? Max and Bren, both of you described everything very well. That was an amazing stream. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you. I always see you on here too. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
How Finney on Buckazoids. Oh yeah, I'll look at somebody asked about a certain coin. What was it? Besides Zbeck. Oh yeah, Fartcoin. Yeah, Fartcoin pulling back really hard at this which is also at an all-time high right now. Uh, yeah, I'd expect Fartcoin to continue up whenever everything else does. For me, traditionally for memes, we're already seeing SPX move up. I think all the cult like coins, the SPX Gigas, Mogs, get ticker Bitcoins, the ones we've been talking about on the stream here, are going to follow SPX's lead here shortly. Again, these coins, apart from Murad or any people that are attached to it, it's about the coins themselves, the supply distribution through multiple 90% corrections, the community that's just continuing to build despite price, this bigger mission where like SPX has with quote unquote flipping the stock market, all these different things that come into one that you see in all these other ones, Gigamog, SPX, I think are going to contribute to them going way higher from here. So those are the ones that I think I've been accumulating. Like I said, SPX is kind of the first leader, but I think we're going to see the other ones start to do the same very soon. So yeah, those are the ones that I think I've been accumulating most of. I have been buying Fartcoin a little bit a couple weeks ago. You got the Pengus. I think Pengu is going to kind of lead, and again, Max, another one that Max bought the very freaking bottom of, and gave you kind of the entry here on these streams. I think literally down here.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Uh,
I remember that day. We talked right at the bottom of that little coil down there.
yep. 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 Uh, this is another one I think Pengu is going to lead the category of quote unquote social tokens, where these brands have this token that they integrate into everything that they do. I think Pengu is going to kind of be a pioneer, and lead that category. So I think Pengu would do well. I think just focusing on a lot of these coins, just like the same thing, you can kind of throw a dart at a lot of these solid meme coins and just buy and hold. A lot of these people are just completely scared of these things right now, and that's creating a lot of great opportunities still. So I would say don't overcomplicate it, whether it's SPX, Gigamog, Fartcoin, Peanut, whatever you believe in. Just focus on that and just be patient. I would say.
Do remember that just just a little bit ago, uh, and I do mean just a little bit ago, we were just as nervous about Bitcoin when it was in the high 80s and it was going from 88 to 85. Now we're nervous because it's going from 108 to 103. Let that be a lesson.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. He says Buckadoys just seem like Cabal's trying to create some kind of lore. Oh, is it a coin too? I didn't even see that. Brand, what are your view on all the institutions acquiring Bitcoin almost every week? Just want to know because I feel like in the future we might be manipulated by them. I'd love to hear Max's thoughts. He has just way more insight on this than me. But I would say there's just good and bads and trade offs and anything. Of course, of course, these guys are gonna create fear and hype so that they can get better prices and stuff like that. There's going to create a lot of turmoil. But you look at the good side of that, that legitimizes the industry so much and just shows us that this thing's here to stay. So I would say you got to take the good with the bad. Yes, it's going to create manipulation, but just like we said earlier, you got to think of these things as a terms of opportunity. Yes, it's going to create a quote unquote manipulation that may be annoying for a few months, but you know the great opportunities that's going to create in the process is just going to be great. Max, I want you to what would you say to that question?
I agree. I think though that there's a little bit. I mean, look, anytime a market moves up or down, it's there's a part of the crowd that says, "Oh, somebody's manipulating that." um, that that isn't correct about 95% of the time. Believe me, there's nobody in their office with a lot of money saying, "Gee, I think I'll sit at my computer screen and figure out how to manipulate this meme coin." I know no one that does that. I don't even know someone who knows someone who does that. I think what happens is the markets have air pockets, they have emotions, and stocks have done that since the beginning of time. So as everybody gets used to meme coins and altcoins and utility coins and L1s and L2s and whatever you want to call them, as everybody gets used to that, the very same things are going to happen. And we're going to blame it on some ghost, and there's going to be some terrible monster in the shadows, and it's never true. It's just part of the process. And you got to start this. I'm telling you, the sooner that anybody listening can look at all this noise and see it as just noise, that's like, hey, do you want this car with leather or upholstery? It does. It it comes with the car. It's just part of the package. Stop thinking that it's something. It's just a piece of the deal. And once you can kind of, even if you have to fool yourself into thinking that, even if you have to pretend, you're gonna you're gonna you're gonna feel a lot better, you're gonna see it a lot better, and you're gonna be a lot less stressed over what's going on.
For sure. Yes. Somebody asked, how do institutions and governments buying Bitcoin OTC influence the market in the future? Not really quite sure what he means. Buying Bitcoin OTC. I think obviously, yeah. I don't know. Max might be able to answer that, but
What's that?
sorry. They said how do institutions and governments buying Bitcoin OTC influence the market in the future?
How does it influence it? Well, the more money that pours into Bitcoin, the more valuable every single coin gets. It's like Michael Saylor said yesterday in his speech. Nobody can come against Bitcoin because the more they try to buy it, the more they try to buy it to control it for some bad reason, the richer they make everybody else. So, you're not going to be able to come up with a there's a monster in the closet story on Bitcoin.
Yep.
I mean,
Uh,
that doesn't mean they're not going to try, but it's just not going to be very successful.
yes. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up this question too, Curry. Because obviously the title of the stream is "Sell in May, Go Away." I think Max was saying, it's just usually it's terrible advice, right? Because even if there is a sell, like a May dip, that's usually the final low in the correction. So anybody who's selling in May is essentially praying that they're going to get a little bit lower before it goes up. Like, just for example, Sol here back in sorry, if just Sol as an example only, if you would have sold in May of 23, the bottom was put in June of 23, and it literally ripped fucking 15x in the next year, right? In summer of 2024, if you would have sold in May, you would have had a buyback perfectly in August. But if you would have sold in May, essentially a month later, the bottom was put in and it like 2x. Essentially, there's so many different examples of even if there's a sell off in May, it's actually what creates the final low. So it's like you got to think of these again. It's just the same kind of thing. You've got to think of these things as not like a scary thing, but even if you get that May dip, think of it as an opportunity. Usually before the fucking final bottom's put in. I mean, what would you say to that, Max?
I agree. The other thing is the August dip. The August dip also is an example of the May dip.
Okay.
You get two each year.
Yeah. Now it is generally true that in the summer, most of the time, right, it is not a lot of movement, right? Like it's usually either consolidation or like whatever, but that's not always holds true. I think you said this summer, right? We shouldn't expect that. I would say that corrections probably come early this year, as we already saw. Um, I think you had said that a few weeks ago, right? Like
Yeah,
this probably gonna be a bit different.
yeah. I think it'll be pretty shallow this summer.
Gotcha.
Any dip is going to be frustratingly shallow. And
Yeah.
what I mean by frustratingly shallow, it's going to leave bullish people go, well, why the fuck did that happen? And bearish people are going to say, wait a minute, it's still got way more to go,
Yep.
and and they'll miss it.
Gotcha. Let me see here. Yeah, I do want to do a giveaway to somebody in the chat who's been super active and asking great questions. Today, let's go ahead and go with Embermain 0666. You asked like 3 or 4 great questions today. Appreciate every single one of you for being in here. We're going to do a giveaway every week. But even if you never hit it, again, we do always appreciate your questions and comments. Definitely make sure to retweet, like, comment, bookmark the stream, as well as if you haven't already, go follow Max Six Crypto. Again, that Bitcoin documentary, super excited for everybody to see. I think it's I've seen one of their other documentaries or their shorter movies,
Yeah,
not only like production wise, but just so much, just jam packed with so much great info. And if Max is in it, it's going to be great. So definitely check out his page and follow,
we
so you
need
don't miss that any streams, content, and especially that Bitcoin doc.
to send them to
Um,
person.
Let me see here. Can pump fund coins volume increase in the future or going lower? I think pump fund. I think meme coins have not seen anywhere close to peak hype. Max was saying that eventually there's going to be stories of the average people, 7-Eleven workers, whatever, stay at home moms, like these crazy success stories from meme coins, and I think it'll be where most of new capital comes in. So to answer your question, I would assume unless pump fund something happens to it legally or whatever, is going to continue to increase in volume.
Bren, I don't want to be rude, but I got to take this call real quick. I'll be right back.
No worries. And Max, if we're not on anymore, then
Yeah, if I happen to miss everybody, have a fantastic weekend and be patient. It's all going to be better than you think.
awesome. Appreciate you, Max.
Okay, man.
So yeah, definitely check out Max's page. I'll stay on here for a few more minutes. Bren and Maxie, thank you for all you do. Thank you, Mr. G. Cheers, lads. Have a great weekend. You too. Jeremy, Juicy Plays. Appreciate you. Artie, another. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. Um, cool, cool. What's up, Wonka? Take care, Max. You're a legend. Awesome. So, yeah, please retweet, like the stream, comment, be ready for Tuesday. Like I said, we're going to have a new host on that's going to add a lot of great energy and value to the show, my guy Gambler. So, definitely check him out. Check out my producer here, Can't Stop Me Now. Great guy as well. A lot of great insight on AI. I'm sorry. A lot of great insight on AI and a lot of cool stuff that he's helped me a lot with these streams include the not the production value, but everything. Super and smart individual. I'd expect him to put out a lot of maybe some content on AI and in different ways that you can use it in different stuff. So a lot of great insight. Super smart guy. Check him out. And we appreciate you guys for being on again. Oh wow, this is cool, Ramon. Appreciate that, bro. That's super fucking sick. Both of you described everything very well. That was an amazing learning stream. I'm gonna go ahead and retweet that. That's fucking cool. Great discussion. Of course. Thanks, Vanessa. Um, it's Bitcoin lore. Awesome. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday, 1 p.m. PST. If you have any suggestions, I know Rojam, my buddy here, is always giving me great suggestions. If any of you, anything you want to see in the stream, any people, guests, anything. Again, we're gonna have naturally guests on anyway. But if there's anybody you want to see on the stream, anything, content wise, any topics that you want to see, go ahead and shoot it either on the under the stream or you can DM me. And with that, guys, love you guys so much. And I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay patient. We're just getting started. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Follow all the panelists. And I'll see you guys soon.